is one of my course mates, so he can tell you the kind of person I am. So when it comes to the top of my class, I'm one of the best. But if I knew what I know now, I should have entered tech since. So this is a great opportunity for you to diversify your knowledge, get insights, so that you know how to position yourself for the global space. Yeah, so that you won't be there looking you won't be looking for job. You create job for yourself and for others. All right, so I'll be speaking on Web3 blockchain and the decentralization of the internet. Then the career opportunities it has. And again, for those that want to become blockchain developers and the rest, the roadmap you take. Yes. Next slide. So I work with African Blockchain Center for Developers, ABC. So what we do at ABC is we groom people, train them on Web3, and position them for the global space. Connect them with global people who are looking for talent. So we look at, sorry, I forgot my glasses. So we look at the centralization. Now, this says decentralization of the internet. Now, before I actually go to decentralization of the internet, I want you to understand centralized internet first. Before you go to decentralization, because at the heart of blockchain is decentralization of the internet. Next slide. So we want to look at centralization. So at the heart of blockchain, everything we are doing in blockchain is all about, we want to decentralize the internet. So we don't want one man to be controlling the internet. We want everyone to have free access to the internet. Next slide. Now, when we say internet or when we say network, so when we say network is a collection of two or more computers that are connected together for the purpose of sharing informations or sharing data electronically. Now, you can't have a decentralized or centralized system without having a network. So I can't transfer data with you if there is no mutual agreement. Next slide. Now, by architecture and design, so this is like type of network. Next slide. So by architecture and design, we have three primary types of network. We have what we call the centralized network. We have what we call the decentralized network. And we have what we call the distributed network. So what are these guys? Now, for centralized network, we have what we call the primary node or hub. So there is a central point that controls everything that happens on the network. Go back to that picture, please. Now, this is an example of a centralized network. This is like the primary guy. So if anything happens to this big man here, every device connected on this network will lose data. So this is a centralized network. So there is a middleman. There is a big man in the middle that controls the whole data. Now, if there is an attack on this guy, every other person on the network will lose connection. Go on. So one of the problems we have in centralized network is what we call central points of failure. So basically, whatever happens to the father affects the children. So central point of failure. So that is one of the issues we have in centralized network. Next slide. So the other type of network we have is the decentralized and distributed. Now, technology improves when we have a problem. Now, we now saw the problem in centralized network, so we now want to solve it. Then decentralized network and distributed network came on board. So in distributed and decentralized, so there is no single hub. So there is no single or central connection point. So the data is dispersed. So there is no one man controlling it. Next slide. Now, let me use this picture and explain it so that if you don't get my English, you understand it better. Now, let's look at this tree diagram. Now, take for instance, let me use the analogy of a library. Now, we are in data state. Now, if the history of data state is stored in one library alone, and that library is in, let's say, in FCT, Abuja. Now, that is a centralized network. Now, if peradventure, if there is a hazard or if there is a fire break, and the library in Abuja got burnt, that means the next generation can't be able to access that history book because it's stored in this one central point. So that is centralized. For decentralized, now instead of having that same book in only the FCT, we now have it in various states. So that if the one in Delta say got burnt, I can go to any other state and bring it. Now, not that when you are having it in another state, you are having the photocopy, you are having the original copy, the exact copy. You are having the exact copy. Now, when you now come to distribution, instead of having it in states, you have it both in states, in the local government, in the various wards, maybe in schools within the states. So now, if I now want to access, I can just step out, just like the way we have POS all over the place. Yes, I can just step out and access it easily. Then, if there is any issue in any of the days, it won't affect the system because there are still more places you can get information back. So this too is what blockchain is leveraging on. Now, one thing you should know is that you can't have a distributed network without having a decentralized network. So decentralization, next slide, decentralization bets distribution. Do you get me? Sorry, am I too fast? So let's go back. Go back. So I say decentralization based distribution. So you can't be talking about having distributed network without having a decentralized network. So that's why at the event of blockchain, we now have other distributed network like distributed ledger technology and the whole of that. Then go on. Now, this is just a quick intro to what centralized and decentralized network is, so that when we now enter blockchain, you get to understand what we are talking about. Sorry, are we together? All right, I just hope that this guy will not sue me for using his picture. So now let's understand what is Web3, because everything about today is all about Web3 blockchain. So we understand the blockchain technology, then look at the career opportunities and the roadmap. Next slide. Now, Web3 is a shared economy. It says, I am for nobody, I am for everybody. It's a shared economy. It's not controlled by one man. So the money is circulating. It's a circular economy. Now, Web3 is a decentralized web powered by the crypto economy. Now, when I say that it's powered by the crypto economy, that means, now, traditionally, in your traditional market, if you want to buy something, you use your naira or use your dollars, depending on your country to buy. Now, in the crypto space or in the Web3 or blockchain space, every services you are rendering, you get paid in crypto, because that is the native currency of the economy. Now, when you understand Web3, you know that cryptocurrencies with good use cases, they are not just there for you to buy and dump. They are there for long term. Now, blockchain is the hallmark of all. Now, without blockchain, you can't have crypto. Now, cryptocurrency, you know, when most people hear of blockchain, they just bring the idea that is the limit is at times to cryptocurrency. Reason being that cryptocurrency was the first application of blockchain to finance, to banking. It actually gave us the 100% proof that this technology works. But outside that, there are so many industries and areas that this technology is disrupting. So as you continue, you get to hear about them. So Web3 is a shared economy for both creators and users. So whether you are a creator or whether you're a user, you get to gain in the system. How many of us use Brave browser here? Do you earn from Brave browser? So even though you are not the developer of that browser, you are earning by using it to browse. So that is one of the beauty of Web3. Next slide. Now, to actually understand Web3, I want to go through the evolutions of the web. So we have Web 1, we have Web 2, and we have Web 3. And Web 4, they are hitting up, they say, for Web 5 and the whole of that. Now, Web 1, what is Web 1 like? Most of us, we are not there in the time of Web 1, but let me just give you a quick overview. So in Web 1, it brought about the information age. How many of us are in a closed WhatsApp group here? You are in a WhatsApp group that only the admin can write. So how do you feel? So that is what Web 1 was like. So it's only the information that they give you that you can access. So you can't, if there is a complaint or if there is any error, you can't give the information back. So it's more of information age. Just like static sites, so there is no interactivity. So just like the scenario you have in a closed WhatsApp group. The next slide. So Web 2 is now gave us the permission to not only read, you can also write and interact. Now today, most of us are on Facebook, most of us on WhatsApp, most of us on Twitter and the whole of that. So these guys are operating on Web 2. So in your Facebook, you can interact. You can even chat Zuckerberg up and tell him that what he's doing, you don't like it. So the interactivity is there. So Web 2 is powered by what we call users data. Now, without you, the Web 2 platform can't exist. What I mean, it can't function properly. So it's your data that powers it. Now, if someone is giving you a service for free, you are the product. So most of us, we are using WhatsApp, we are using Facebook, and the whole of them for free. So we are the product. So without you, they won't have the user base. So Web 2, it gave us the opportunity to upload data. So you cannot be able to create an account, upload data, and the rest of that. Now, since you now want to be uploading data, this brought about the issue of servers. We now have servers. Now, this is where the decentralized server come on board. Because if you are creating your account, they have to store your details on the server so that if you want to log in, the backend logic and the rest will check and make sure that your data are correct before you can be able to log in. So the advent of Web 2 bring about what we call file storage system and file transfer system. Next slide. Now, one of the major flaws now is that the data in Web 2 is stored in one place. Remember, when we are looking at types of network, I told you guys, once there is an attack on the central server, everything loses. You get. Now, for those of us who are correct, a few months back, Facebook has an attack. Meta. Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. So they had an attack that lasted for 5 hours. So there was an attack on their DNS, so domain name server system. So because they are running on one DC. So what affected Facebook affected both Instagram and WhatsApp at the same time. So that is the disadvantage of centralized server. So if anything happens on that central server, the whole data will be lost. So imagine all the pictures you've been saving online. You just wake up one day, discover that that Facebook has been hacked, and you can't go back, because most of us save pictures online for reference. You can't go back and reference those pictures. So it's disheartening. So that is what blockchain want to solve. So Web 2, you are the product. Next slide. Now Web 3, this is the new web. This is the decentralized web. It's a shared economy. So Web 3 decentralized web powered by the crypto economy. You get powered by the crypto economy, and blockchain is at the hallmark. So at the heart of Web 3 is blockchain. Now, one unique thing about Web 3 is that it cares for both users and creators. Web 2, only the owners or the creators earns. How many of you have made money from Facebook, from using Facebook? Unless you are a marketer or you have, how many of you have made money from using Facebook? But in Web3, you can make money by doing exercise. We have some Web3 solution. As you are doing exercise, you are making money. So that's Web3. So whether you are a creator or user, you make money. So that's the beauty of Web3. That's why it's a shared economy. The more reason you need to understand how this guy works. So since Web3 is powered by the crypto economy, so both creators and users, you get paid for your services in the cryptocurrencies, using the cryptocurrency. Next slide. So when you understand Web3, now you get to understand that there are some cryptocurrencies you shouldn't joke with. There are some cryptocurrencies you shouldn't joke with. You don't just buy them for buying and dumping, because you know that these guys, they have good use case in the industry. But I don't want to go deep into more of use cases and rest. Now, for more insights, I've dropped a link. So via this link, you get more insights on the evolutions of the web. So this is an article I wrote 3 months back. Next slide. Now let's look at blockchain technology. Now, if I want to do business with you, and you don't know me, we've not met for the first time, you don't know my parish. Now, the first thing you try to know is, you try to ask yourself is, can you trust this person? So trust is the fundamental currency of commerce. So you can't actually do business with anybody that you don't trust. And at times, you might trust someone, but along the line, once money shows, trouble will burst. So that's one of the things blockchain wants to solve. So instead of depending on trust, we now depend on what we call cryptographic proof. So I don't need to trust you to do business with you, because the transaction and everything I'm doing with you is cryptographically encrypted on the network, on the blockchain. So it's cryptographically encrypted. That means you can't go back and change it. Next slide. Now, the question is, now, what is blockchain? What is blockchain? Now, blockchain is a global, decentralized, and distributed database that records provenance of digital access. When we say something is global, that means it doesn't want to know your location. It doesn't want to know your religion. It doesn't want to know where you are from. Now, when we say that something is decentralized, that means it doesn't have a central controller. Now, distributed, like I told you, decentralization best distribution. So you can't have a distribution without decentralization. So there must be decentralization first before distribution. Now, it consists of chains of blocks cryptographically linked together. Let me break this guy down. Let me break the definition down. Let it not be that I'm speaking grammar. Again, let me bring it to what we relate, so that you understand how this name blockchain and the whole thing come about. How many of us have seen a block before? Now you've seen. Okay, now just visualize this as normal block. You get. Now when you bring series of block and chain it together, what do you have? Now, back then in our basic science, there's what they tell us is this cell or atom that they told us is the smallest unit of life and is the smallest indivisible particle of an element. Now, in the blockchain, block is the smallest unit of data. When I say smallest, there's what we call bundling. I don't want to go into that process, but I want you to see that the smallest unit of data you can transact. Now, when these blocks are linked together cryptographically, that is when we now have chain. So block, that smallest unit of data, now linked, that is blockchain. Cryptography is a method of protecting information so that only those whom the information is intended can access it. So you use codes, you write smart contracts and you roll of that for them. Now it's just like if you want to go and borrow money in your bank now, your bank manager or your account manager already knows how much you are transacting. So if the guy is dubious, he can send guys after you. But in blockchain, it's only you and the person you are sending the money that knows the exact amount because it's cryptographically encrypted. Next slide. Now, let me use book as a blockchain analogy. Maybe you get to understand it better. Now, most of us have books here. Now, think of if I ask you to write your name in that book or to write something in that book, that is what we call transaction. Now, in blockchain, we try to use the term transaction because at times, anything you are doing on the network, if it's what that will change the state of the network, it has some cost and chaos. So that is transaction. So if I want to put my data on the blockchain and if it's going to change the state of the network, it's a transaction. So as you are writing something on that your book, that is transaction. Now that particular page of book, where you are writing down your name or you are jotting whatever you are jotting is what we call the block. Now the whole of that your book, now some books have spiral bands, some books have pin. So that the whole of that books is what we call the blockchain. Now inside that book, you now have the pages and those things you've written. Now they are now chained together depending on the design of your book. It might be spiral band on the rest. So that is where that name chain come on board. So what you now use to connect those data and link it to the database. Now they are making reference to they are linked cryptographically to the parents. Sorry. Am I communicating? Do you get the whole analogy of blockchain and the rest? Or do you need more explanation before I go? Is it clear? All right, so next slide, please. Now this is the question I usually get most of the time. People will ask, what is the future? Because for me, before I venture into any business, or before I enter into any field, I used to first of all research on the future. If this guy have future, amen. But if he doesn't have future, I no need of wasting my time. Yeah. So, what is the future and use cases of blockchain technology? Now, for you to actually understand this, for you to actually know these use cases. Now, one thing with use cases, when you understand use cases, even at that place you are sitting, you can think of solutions to build. If you understand use cases. Now think of any industry where there is lack of trust, lack of transparency, lack of security. Now, if you have any of such industry, if you have any of such establishments, if you have any of such environments around you, there is future and use cases of blockchain there. There are opportunities that blockchain is there to solve. There are opportunities that blockchain is there to solve. Now, these are few of the use cases I'll be looking at, but I'll drop my comprehensive article on them. Now, let's look at transparent government budgeting. Now, in blockchain design and architecture, we have various types of blockchain. We have what we call the public blockchain, we have what we call the private blockchain, the consortium and hybrid and the rest of them. Now, for public blockchain, everybody can be able to access it. Something like, how many of us know about, have heard of Bitcoin or know about Bitcoin, Ethereum and the rest? Now, these guys are running on public blockchain. So everybody can access it. So that means the data is visible to everyone. So it's not restricted to some groups of persons. You get? So that is public blockchain. Now, for you to run transparent government budgeting, you need to have a system that that's built on public blockchain. So that means, for instance, we are in Delta State. Most of us don't even know the budget of the state for the year. Most of us don't know the budget of the country for the year. But if we are running on a public blockchain which is transparent, every citizen will know the budget of the country, the budget of the state for the year, and not also knowing the budget, but know how the money was spent. Because as you are making the expenditure, it's being recorded on the blockchain. So that nobody will rise up and tell you that snakes swallow 50 billion. Because as you are making the transaction, it's recorded, you can't erase it. So that's one thing with blockchain. Once you've recorded it, once the transaction has been registered on the network, even your grandfather said that your faith moves mountain is not where blockchain is. Once the data is there, you can't erase it. Your faith can't move mountain there. Yeah, so it will help bring integrity because everything is visible to everyone on the network. So we can think of building solution in terms of this transparent government budgeting. So if you build solutions, we can bring a lot of sanity to the country and improve on the system. Now we look at cross-border transaction. You know, back in the days, if you want to send money to someone in US or in another country, maybe you want to use Western Union, it might take you days. And not only that, it take you days, you also be charged a transaction fee and the rest. But now, within a split of seconds, you can do that with blockchain. You can do that with blockchain and the rest. So you can transfer seamlessly. And not only that, at times there are some money that you want to move from your account. Your bank manager or your bank will first of all call you for interview to come and explain. Or if money enter your account, they will call you to come and explain how you make the money. But with blockchain, you can transact trillions. It's only you and the person sending the money that knows. So it makes cross-border transactions seamlessly. So there are so many solutions. There are so many products out there in the market solving this problem. But if you look very well, you will still see that there are still loopholes. Because one thing in tech is that one product can't solve all the problem. So when you look at what these guys are failing to do, revamp it and bring your own solution. Now we have digital voting system for election. You know, few days back I was actually discussing with my guys on this, because now election hasn't started. INEC are already rigging an election on ordinary voters' card registration. So what will now happen when election starts? So since the beginning of democracy, it is not the number of people that votes that counts. It is the people that count the votes. In democratic nation, it is not the number of people that votes that counts. It is the people that count the votes. But with blockchain, we can build a system that we trust. And not only building a system that you trust. In terms of election, there are a lot of crises. There are a lot of bad things that happen. Ballot theft and the rest. You can build a system with blockchain so that you can vote while being at your bedroom, while sitting comfortably. You don't need to go and queue up. You don't need to go and struggle or endanger your life. Just at the comfort of your home, you do that. We have some foreign guys who are already doing this, and we have some local guys who are still building on this, but there are still more we can build to improve on this. Yeah, so we can build on this, build solution that will solve this problem. And the next area we want to look at waves and inheritance. Now we've seen cases whereby someone passed away. You get, there are now issues. Maybe the lawyer might be dubious. Tries to, maybe if the man has 5 estates in Dubai, maybe the second son has promised the lawyer that, okay, if you help me change the will to my name, I'll give you one of the estates. You get. So the lawyer can actually do that because the first son or any other member of the family wasn't there when the will was signed. So the will was signed between the lawyer and the deceased person. But in blockchain, anything we are doing, you can't, once you enter the data, you can't change it. So if I sign my will on the blockchain, that this thing will only be approvable. There's what we call consensus on the network. So that will only be approvable when that consensus is met. And as long as that consensus is met, you can't distribute my will anyhow. It must be according to the consensus, according to what I've signed. Next slide. So because of time, I'll drop a link in my slide of my previous article so that you get to read to know more about the use cases of blockchain. Now, I want to enter the career opportunities. Now, having known about Web3, blockchain, and use cases, so the next question you might ask yourself is that what are the career opportunities? As a young person who is here or who is aspiring to enter this space, what are the career opportunities? Because at times when people hear blockchain, they think that you must be a programmer or you must have a special talent to belong to this space. My brother, no. Yes, so there are a lot of career opportunities. Sorry, can you project? There are a lot of career opportunities in the blockchain space. So I'll just go through a few of them and drop a link to my article where you can read more to get more info. Now, some of the high demand career opportunities in this space, we have the smart contracts or the blockchain developer, guys that developer. We have the technical writers, guys that write. We have the web developers. We have the community managers. So, how many of us have managed a WhatsApp group before? So if you can manage a WhatsApp group, you can become a community manager in blockchain. So there is no special skill needed. It's just your ability to communicate. But before you be able to know that, I can't be asking you something on blockchain and you are using another language. So there are some basic things you need to learn to equip yourself for that. So we have guys who are graphic designers, product designer, UI, UX, and the whole of that. So because of time, I'm going to drop a link where you can read more and know some of the career opportunities. Now how many minutes? All right. Now for guys that want to become developers, that want to become blockchain developers, build products like this. So I'm a blockchain developer. So for those who want to become blockchain developer, so if you are new to tech, you need to start from the basics because blockchain, like when we go through the evolution of the world, you see that Web3 is building on Web2. So blockchain is Web3. So for you to actually do well in Web3, you need to know Web2. So you need to start with the basics. Know how the web works. All right. So know how the web works. Start with HTML, start with CSS, then JavaScript. Now, if you can know these guys, every other thing will be added on to you. So spend time, learn the fundamental. So that when you are grounded in fundamental, when you enter the blockchain, it's easier for you to exploit. Because I've seen guys that write smart contracts. I know guys that just jump into the space. They are doing well writing smart contracts. But when you want to run integration, that's where you know that blockchain is not for keys. So you can't run integration if you don't have idea of Web2. So that is why if you really want to become proficient, start with Web2. Start with the basics. Start with HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Then when you know these guys, you can now go to learn. You can now go to learn any of the blockchain backend language, that is smart contract language. You can rather use Solidity if you want to work on the Ethereum, Polygon, and the other network. Then you can use Rust if you want to work for Solana and the rest. So you can choose between any of these guys for a start. But before you go to these guys, you have to learn the fundamentals. Because basically what we are doing, go back to the next slide. Basically, this is what we are doing in blockchain. We are building decentralized applications, which comprise of a front end. So your front end, you need knowledge of Web2. Your HTML, CSS, you need to understand how to build a simple website. It's not hard, it's very simple. Then we now incorporate with smart contracts. So smart contract is now when you are now writing the logic for the blockchain, for the cryptocurrencies and the rest. So this, how you write it. Next slide. All right, I think. So in summary, for those that want to become developers, learn HTML, learn CSS, learn JavaScript. Then if you can understand JavaScript very well, every other thing will be added on to you. So Solidity, if you know JavaScript, Solidity, it won't take you more than 1 month to understand Solidity. Because the knowledge builds on previous knowledge. Then for those that want to build career in other because this is more of the code base. Okay, for those that want to build career in other non-code base, it's pretty simple. You just need to, if I'm building product in the blockchain space today, I need a marketer. I can't be building a product and be marketing. Myself, I don't even know how to write content. So I don't even know how to market. So if I just build a product, if I become one man squad, my product will just end with me in my bedroom. So I need someone that know how to capture people's attention. So if you are a marketer, you are highly needed. No product will exist. No product will do well. No product will get to the final consumer without a marketer. If you are a content writer, you are highly needed. If you are a technical writer, you are highly needed. Me, in my leisure time, I do a bit of technical writing. Yeah, so there are some non-technical, there are a lot of opportunities that doesn't require you to become a programmer. Like you saw the lawyer speaking previously. So she doesn't know how to code, but she can give you endorsements, give you consultancy and the rest, and be you. And you pay her in crypto. So we have the guys that do graphics. So you don't actually need a special skill. So any skill you have, bring it to the blockchain. We need it. So you just need to know how to communicate effectively, because one thing with the Web3 blockchain is that it's built on community. So you need to know how to grow with the community. So I think that's all. Thank you so much.